a big one in the ACC. Two teams that have conference title game aspirations or even just conference championship winner aspirations. Clemson goes to Georgia Tech. We've already talked about it. JP will be boots on the ground at this game. Clemson's only favored by 2.5. I think it's another game that's the spread is really close. What did it open at? Do you know?
The spread opened at 6.5.
Yeah, so already dropped.
Whoa.
And despite uncertainty about Haynes King, it has dropped all the way to 2.5. Speaking of Haynes King should be good to go. Brett Key said, and I quote, "Looks good, feels good." Immunity. He warmed up in full uniform last week before being told he was not going to play by the medical staff, not by Brett Key or not by himself. It was the medical staff that kept him from the game. But he should be good to go. And despite kind of the uncertainty of that, he's been limited in practice all week. It's dropped all the way to 2.5.
He's 100% going to play.
That's what I was thinking.
Will he be actually 100% though? Like, will he be fully healthy? And also, even if he starts the game fully healthy, it's Haynes King. How many rushing attempts does it take for him to no longer be at 100%? When does the wear and tear get to yellow and then maybe even red?
Yeah, he's going to take some big shots early. With that Clemson defensive line, they're going to be coming after him. But I agree 100% that he's going to play. Unless, like, the only way he wouldn't be playing in this game at home against one of the ACC front runners if, like, he is in a wheelchair. So
he may roll out there still, to be honest. He wants to play that badly.
I think that he should be playing in this game. But it will be the question of, like, how long can he stay at 100%? Or even if he comes into the game at 70%, how long can he stay at 70%? And Tucker makes a great point. He does seem at times to play better as he gets more and more banged up. We saw that. I mean, he was banged up throughout the entire last season, and the end of the season is when Georgia Tech was at their best.
Colorado game, he's already rushed and taken a bunch of hits the entire game and then has the touchdown to take the lead and seal it in the fourth quarter. He had 19 carries for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns against Colorado. So expect that to, kind of reoccur. He was 13 for 20 for 143 yards. Remember, they had 3 turnovers in the first quarter of that game. Haynes King was responsible for 2 of them, and then the other one was just a fumble. His last game against the Clemson Tigers was in 2023. He was at Georgia Tech. They played at Clemson. He was 13 for 31, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks, and a 21-42 loss in Death Valley. He had 11 carries for -3 yards because he was sacked 4 times in that game. And this was not a game where it was like, oh, Clemson is like a guaranteed playoff team. They're perennial. They're still perennial ACC contenders, but they were in a down spot of the year. Both of the teams were 5-4 going into that game.
Yeah.
And Haynes King was dominated by Clemson at the end of that season. So that's kind of something to look at. This Clemson defense, I argue, is better than that defense was 2 years ago as well, and they've shown that for 2 games. They showed that in the LSU game for sure. For Clemson, Antonio Williams basically probably not going to play. Dabo has said in 2 different interviews, these are his 2 quotes, and this is all he said when asked about Antonio Williams. The first time, we'll see. The second time, he's just day-to-day now. So
Very
really
non-committal.
nothing being reported about the Tigers' best receiver, who doesn't have a catch this season because he was hurt early in the LSU game. That means you're going to rely immediately on Bryant Wesco Jr., Tyler Brown, who replaced Antonio Williams, and then TJ Moore, who've been solid. Bryant Wesco's been great, 11 catches, 184 yards, and 2 touchdowns. TJ Moore's, left a little bit of meat on the bone, I'd say. But for me, the big key to the game for Clemson is going to be give Adam Randall the rock. He's averaging 4.9 yards per carry. A ton of that was against Troy, I will say. But I think you got to run the ball against this Georgia Tech team. Georgia Tech gave up 4.7 per carry to Colorado. Colorado, under Deion Sanders, has been one of the worst rushing teams in the country.
Sure.
And that is also against it's just 4.7 per carry is not good. Colorado ran for just 3.3 per carry against Delaware, meaning the Georgia Tech run defense was worse against Colorado than Delaware was. That's a problem going forward. And then Georgia Tech gave up 3.7 per carry to Gardner-Webb. So I think it's give Adam Randall the rock. I think you got to run the ball a ton for Clemson. Really try to take the crowd out of it. I expect there to be a really good crowd. There have been great crowds for, like last year. The Miami game was an excellent crowd. They end up storming the field against Miami. I think you got to give Adam Randall the rock. I think you got to control the clock. And I think that's the key to the game for Clemson, is if they can just control the line of scrimmage and control the time of possession.
Sure. It's a thing of they're both going to want to run the rock, but it's Georgia Tech, a good rushing team, against Clemson, a good rushing defensive team. And then you have Clemson's rushing attack, which has been poor to start the season. I know Adam Randall's averaging over 4 yards a carry. You said a lot of it was against Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Their O-line has not looked great so far throughout the season, so they've really struggled to maintain drives. So it's a not great rushing attack versus a not great front seven in terms of stopping the rush from Georgia Tech. So it's kind of like what gives. My question to you is I'm going to spin a little narrative, or if this is how it plays out Saturday. Do you think Clemson can get it done? Georgia Tech comes out just gunning to stop the run. They have good success at bottling up Adam Randall. The O-line struggling. Cade Klubnik's coach last year told me he doesn't have to win any games. He just has to manage him. But do you think Cade could go out and win a game if the rushing attack is not there? Like, do you think he could at Georgia Tech with missing his best receiver? I know the other weapons are still talented, but they're not as good currently. Could he go do it? Could he go win a game and not just manage it?
I don't think that he needs to win the game. I agree with that quote again. Like, I think the defense has a chance to control this game enough to where it doesn't matter what he has to do. But I think in this moment, for me, this becomes, it's a moment like I talked about in the NBA playoffs a ton. This is Clemson's first chance at desperation, at what feels like win or go home, win or the season is over. They got beat by LSU at home. That sucked. And then they had a huge wake-up call last week against Troy where they're down 16-0. You go to a weather delay. Troy is leading Clemson for over an hour of time because of a weather delay. But still, it was a huge wake-up call. They came out of it firing. They answered. They were able to get the lead up. This now becomes like the first game of true desperation, I feel like, and they're going to play with a ton of desperation. Georgia Tech, if Clemson had beaten LSU, I think Georgia Tech has a great chance in this game. But I just think Clemson's going to play with a ton of desperation this early on in the season. Like, they still have that. They can still have that kind of drive. Going forward, it may not be the case. Like, when Florida State comes to town, that may not be the case. When SMU comes to town, that may not be the case. But I think Clemson has the desperation. I think Cade will have one of his better games this weekend, and I think if they needed him to, I think he would get it done.
Sure. Cool.
Real quick, do you want to answer Tucker's
yeah, that's
question?
exactly where I was about to go.
I'm going to try and put this image on the
So Tucker asked me as an A&M fan if I'm like happy that Haynes King has found success, and if I've thought about what he could do in Colin Klein's system. He would be a pretty good fit in Colin Klein's system as a running quarterback. But the fact we have Marcel Reed softens the blow. I think Reed's just as good of a runner, even if he's a bit more of a finesse runner than a power runner like Haynes King. And then Marcel Reed is a better thrower because he has a healthy shoulder than Haynes King. I'm happy. I'm happy for Haynes King. It just didn't work with Jimbo Fisher. I think we kind of screwed him up mechanically and mentally. You can see him trying to throw the football. It's not working.
I'll get it working.
There's an iconic picture of him throwing the football in the A&M uniform, and it just doesn't look great. It never did. I think we ruined his confidence. So
I think you might be the reason his shoulder's messed up if you look at this image.
It's possible. Let me just, I'm happy for him. I root for him every Saturday. I'm a quasi-Georgia Tech fan while he's there. Once an Aggie, always an Aggie, assuming you don't, wrong us in any way. He needed to leave. He needed to transfer. So happy for him.
I mean,
go beat Clemson this Saturday, Haynes.
Look at that. Look at that shoulder and the elbow. I think y'all might be the reason he has shoulder issues. Low-key. You might have broke him.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe. It's possible. And Tucker, you're probably 100% correct that Haynes King probably didn't like Jimbo just as much as I don't like Jimbo. I wish it worked out. He was kind of the first big quarterback to come in under Jimbo and hopefully, be the guy to lead us to great things. It just never happened because of injuries as well. I want to point that out. He broke his leg in his second start as an Aggie against Colorado and just never really fully bounced back from that. Ended up getting hurt his next year as well. So I like him. Honestly, I'm happy he's found success. No hard feelings.
Cool.
Clemson's a 2.5-point favorite.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that we hadn't picked yet.
Sanders, what are you taking?
I'm going to take Georgia Tech. I've picked two underdogs now, I guess.
You have.
Georgia Tech. I did not pick Alcorn the first game we previewed. Spread was 1 million, so that was a tough one. But I picked Vandy to cover against South Carolina. I'm going to pick Georgia Tech to cover 2.5 against Clemson. I feel like this is a game I was not going to pick Vandy to win outright. Georgia Tech at home, Haynes King back. Clemson has been underwhelming through 2 games. I meant to say it earlier, JP, and I don't mean to bring this whole thing back up, but the Cade Klubnik not needing to go win games, I feel like they kind of need him against LSU. They only put up 10 points. We just didn't see it. So now I do think that, at some point, the defense isn't enough, right? The defense had held LSU to 17, and the offense couldn't help. So if the defense, even if they hold Georgia Tech to 17, 20, 21, what's the offense going to look like? LSU's defense is much better than Georgia Tech's. This is a road game, not a home game. So it's, it goes both ways. You can make the argument either way. I'm not going to trust in Cade to be able to, get this done without help. And I don't think the run game is there to help, and he's missing his best wide receiver. So I'm going to pick Georgia Tech to cover. I'm also going to pick him to win.
I'm going to take Clemson to cover. I think it'll be a close game. My biggest thing is I don't trust Georgia Tech to not turn the football over in this game, and that could be crucial as they're trying to just run the rock, extend drives, eat away at time of possession. They may put the ball on the turf. When Haynes King does have to throw, he may throw a pick. So I'm going to predict Georgia Tech to lose the turnover battle and also have Clemson cover 2.5 because of that.
Clemson's got the world right where they want them. BYOB, bring your own bus. The Tigers are being doubted again, and Dabo wouldn't have it any other way. Tigers are going to win. They're going to win by double digits on Saturday. The key to the game defensively, can you just kind of slow down Haynes King and Jamal Haynes? So look for Ronan Hannafin, Wade Woodaz, and Sammy Brown to do that and control the game. And that didn't even mention the 2 first-round picks in Peter Woods and T.J. Parker. I think the defense for Clemson turns Georgia Tech over 2-3 times. I think that really is the difference in the game. And Cade's going to get it done. They'll score 28+. Tigers win by double digits, 28-17.
Cool. Shout out Clemson, I guess.